everybody's heard of Candlestick Park. That's where I started. So happy to be at Candlestick Park, and now at Oracle Park, although I'm working from home as we all are. So we hope to get back to the ballpark soon. But I wanted to give three brief things for you today. I have 3 points. So number one, to all of you eighth graders, welcome. You are part of our Giants Community Fund family in a brand new way now. And it's kind of like a special club. So please know that each of you were chosen because of something very unique that we saw in you. Our board and our staff members, we read through your application and we saw those great recommendations. And so we were blown away. I wanted to say welcome. Thank you for everything that you've done so far. And to every scholar on the call right now, we are glad to be able to support everybody throughout high school. You're on the right path already, and we applaud you for getting to where you are at this point. So keep up the great work. And, you know, I think all of us remember our high school years, and a lot of us have kids that have gone through that too. And I know that occasionally there are tough times. It can be confusing. It can be overwhelming at times. But I just want you to know that we are honestly here for you. We support you. And you've got this great network. You've got parents or guardians, grandparents, teachers, older brothers or sisters, coaches, school counselors. Everybody is there for you. And you've got quite a team of support. And so just want you to remember that. And we all need a team around us. So you've got one. And the third point I wanted to make is that this program has a strong support too. We've got a team. And we're so grateful for the donations that make this possible and for the involvement of 3 organizations that support us in a special way. So number one, Franklin Templeton Investments, incredible longtime partner. And the other 2 are foundations that represent the family of Harmon and Sue Burns. And they're former owners of the Giants who passed away in 2006. That was Harmon, and 2009, Sue. And the 2 foundations that support us are the Dreams 33 Foundation, and that's led by Tori and Steve Humphrey. And Tori is Harmon and Sue Burns' daughter. And the other foundation is the Kokua Nalani Foundation, led by Trina and Rob Dean. And Trina is Harmon and Sue's daughter as well. And Rob Dean, who I'll introduce in a minute, is married to Trina and Harmon and Sue's son-in-law. And Rob is also the vice chairman of the Giants. He's a wonderful friend. He's a great advocate for the Giants Community Fund and all of our programs. And so therefore, I would like to introduce Rob to say a few words to everybody right now. Rob?
Hello. Good afternoon, Harmon and Sue Burns scholars, and welcome new 8th graders. Thank you to Sue and Bailey for your continued outstanding work in the community and all you do for the fund and all the various aspects. I know it's nonstop, and I look forward to seeing you at the golf tournament in a couple weeks. So as mentioned, my name is Rob Dean. Harmon and Sue Burns are my late in-laws, and I'm married to Trina, and currently the vice chairman of the Giants, and really enjoyed working with all aspects of the Giants, the community fund, the front office, the baseball operations, and it's been very rewarding. I guess I'm supposed to put it in seasons. I think I'm on my 13th season of active involvement with the Giants. So I thought I'd just give you a quick little background on Harmon and Sue. I know everyone's heard their name, and some of you may know a little bit about them. Some may not know anything about them, but they met in Washington, D.C. I think they were both in their around 20 years old in 1970. They both worked for the Pentagon. And then Harmon got a job offer to move to San Mateo, and it was a really easy decision for him because his favorite player in all of baseball was Willie Mays, and he played for the Giants. So they packed up from the East Coast and moved west and worked hard. He worked for a company that got bought by Franklin Templeton and was working with Charlie Johnson. And about 20 years later after that start, he got a phone call as they were trying to keep the Giants in San Francisco and keep them from moving to Florida. So that's when Harmon and Charlie both got involved in the Giants, along with a handful of other investors that were really focused on keeping the Giants in San Francisco. Harmon Harmon and Sue were, and then the story with the Giants started in 1993, and the love affair and Candlestick Park and AT&T Park that became Oracle Park, etc. But Harmon and Sue were, two of the most generous people I've ever met, and they started the Burns Family Foundation many years ago as a way to give back to important causes. And they particularly were interested in young people, in education, and athletics. So the Giants Community Fund is a perfect fit for three of the main things that they really cared about. So it's an honor to continue to be part of that legacy and to give back to great young people like you. And so with that, I'll just say I know that they would be extremely proud of all of you. They would encourage you to continue to work hard and to follow your passions. And with that, I'll just say good luck to you in this school year, and to also make sure that you have a lot of fun along the way, because it goes by really fast. So that's all I have today. If anyone has any questions, or Sue, if you want me to address anything else, be happy to. I liked your background, so I changed it to the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. No, thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. All right, back to you, Bailey. Is that right?
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Rob. And I am excited to introduce our next guest. We have a packed program today, and we have a very special guest who is a Giants alum, and he actually won the Willie Mack Award. I know all of you know what the Willie Mack Award is for junior Giants, and it's also a really big deal for the Giants team. And I bet some of you even won the Willie Mack Award for your league, but he was a Giants pitcher from 1987 to 1989, and I will now introduce Mr. Dave Dravecky.
Hey, Bailey, can you hear me
Hi,
okay?
Dave. Yes. And Dave is literally stepping away from a dinner with friends to speak with us, so we're so lucky, and you're so kind for doing that. But yeah, I'll just pass it over to you. Just if you want to share a little bit of your story with our scholars, and just any advice you have for high school students who are going to be pursuing their dreams one day.
Yeah, it would be my pleasure. And Rob, it's so good to see you on the screen too as well. Appreciate so much what your family means to the Giants organization, and in particular the Giants Community Fund. It's just a really cool thing to be a part of, because the future is our kids. And guys, for those of you who are listening, who may not know my story, I was diagnosed, as you can see, I'm without my left arm and shoulder. I used to pitch for the Giants, and I was a left-handed pitcher. But I was diagnosed while with the Giants with cancer in my left arm and shoulder, and the doctors told me with the surgery that outside of a miracle, I would never pitch again. However, one of the things that people have often asked is, why did you continue to work so hard to try and come back and play? And the answer is, first of all, I focused mostly on my health to get better physically from the cancer. And then when the doctors gave me permission, I had the opportunity to now try and make a comeback. And the reason why I did that, and I hope this is something that you hear, is because someone can say you can't do it, but until you try, you never know. And so for me, I couldn't walk away from the game wondering if I could have made the comeback, what would have been like. And as a result, I moved forward with the attempt to come back. And 10 months later, I was standing on the mound, getting ready to pitch. And all I could hear were those doctors' words, outside of a miracle, you'll never pitch again. Because a miracle really did happen. And it was the result of so many special people that entered into my story to be an encouragement to me, to help me, to come alongside me, and to walk with me through that journey that was so hard, to ultimately be back on the mound and pitching again. And I faced the Cincinnati Reds that day, and we won 4-3. Unfortunately, 5 days later in the sixth inning, I threw a pitch to a Hall of Fame ball player by the name of Tim Raines, and my left arm snapped in half, and my career came to an end. And I continued to struggle. Life was hard, and it threw a lot of stuff at my wife and I and my family. And as a result of some wonderful people that came into our story and encouraged us, we got to the other side. And today we now have the privilege of telling that story all over the country. But for Jan and I, one of the special things that we get to do is be a part of this Giants family. And here's what I want to share with you. What I learned was there's a very important lesson in understanding it's not what you do that matters most, it's who you are. And that's the beauty of the Giants Community Fund, the Junior Giants. Being a part of baseball is something that you do. But the reality is that every one of those coaches, ambassadors, and people that are involved through the Community Fund, as you enjoy Junior Giants and playing baseball, is also there to help you define who you are. It's about the character and the values that you embrace. And as a result of that, what I learned, once you understand who you are, it begins to affect everything you do. And the beauty of understanding all of that is that we're here for one another. We're here to encourage one another. And the thing that I appreciate so much about Sue and Bailey and their team is that this is something that we enjoy together as a family because we get to give instead of take. We get to encourage, we get to come alongside and help people in the process of pursuing their own dreams and their own goals. And that's why this is such an important time for you as you look to the future in your lives, is to remember that's not what you do, it's who you are. But when you begin to embrace and understand who you are, it will affect and impact everything you do. And hopefully that will be for the good. If there's any gift that I've been given from the Giants, more than being a Giant and playing on the San Francisco Giants baseball team, has been after my career, when most guys go off into the sunset and aren't remembered anymore. This organization remembers, and they brought me back to be a part of this family that is so special. So never forget, as a Junior Giant, you are a part of a very special family that is always there to be an encouragement to you on your journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dave. That's awesome. Does anyone have any quick questions for Dave while we have him, this amazing forever Giant with us? Any questions?
Yeah, this is Rob. Hi, Dave.
Hey, Rob.
With so much negative news out there, maybe you can share with this group of people how you remain positive every day, because I've never seen you down. And every time I see you, bring a smile to my face, because I just know how positive and uplifting you are. So maybe you can give them a hint or two on how you start your day and make sure it's a good day every day.
Absolutely. I think the thing that has been so important for me, Rob, and something that my wife and I have embraced in the midst of the difficulties that we find ourselves in our country today, is that I am not about finding something to argue about. I am about finding something we have in common that brings us together. I am not about divisiveness. I am about unity. I am about coming together and respecting where everybody walks in life, because we all come from different paths. But in the end, it's about coming together and being together in the process of living this life. And we may have differences. We may have concerns about things that are different than other people. But in the end, the thing that is most important to me, and I guess I would like to describe it in this way. I had a dear friend ask me a very important question once. And I thought it was, at the time, it caught me off guard. And yet, now that I think back on it, it was probably the most important and appropriate question to ask. And that was this: when you're dead and gone, what would you want your tombstone to say about you? And, I'm not one, I don't like to live in that place. But as I get older, I think a lot about that. And what I've come to learn is that my life needs to reflect how much I love God and others, and I want to do that well. That's what I want my tombstone to say. That's what I want people to remember me by, that I was able to live a life that loved people well. And so Jan and I wake up every morning with the intention of loving people well. We in the midst of this chaos, I've decided that I'm not going to get caught up in the arguments with people. Because in the end, what's most important is that you know that I care deeply about you regardless of the positions that you take. And I want you to know that I love you regardless of the struggles that we find ourselves in. And if we could just embrace that perspective in life and see people through those eyes with that lens, I actually think we find ourselves dissolving some of the the divisiveness of what we are experiencing in our culture today. And I'm talking about everybody. I'm not talking about just some people. I'm talking about all people from all walks of life. That's our journey. That's our story. And I wake up trusting God with that every day. That when I see people, I see them through His eyes, and I love them with all I've got. And you know, I just hope that in the end, Rob, that makes a difference. I hope that makes a difference. Life is precious. I ran into it with cancer, and my life was in jeopardy. And I faced my mortality when I was 33 years old. And as a result of that, I wanted to live in a manner that would be about lifting others up and loving others in the same way that Jan and I were lifted up and loved when we were in the most difficult place in our story. And so that's the approach that I take. And so far it seems to work pretty good. So we're enjoying the journey, buddy.
I mean, I will say, as someone who's gotten to work with you and then see you outside of work too, you do an excellent job of loving other people well, and you're such a wonderful part of the Giants family, and we really can't imagine it without you. And I'll end with one fun question. What was your favorite park to play in other than Candlestick?
Oh, you can't do that to me, because Candlestick is my place. And you know what? I was born and raised in Youngstown, Ohio, and I didn't get an opportunity to play on very nice baseball fields when I was back in Youngstown. And so when I got to the big leagues, I was overwhelmed. It felt like every ballpark I went to was a slice of heaven, because they were more beautiful than I had ever imagined. And, you know, I played the game as an adult, like a kid, because I always thought I'm just a big kid in a baseball uniform playing a kid's game. And so I enjoyed so many ballparks, but I have to be honest with you that none compared to Candlestick. I enjoyed the atmosphere. The fans were awesome. And one of the things that Roger Craig did so well was he kept the infield grass high, because I was a sinker ball pitcher, and I liked to see guys hit the ball on the ground. And with the tall grass in the infield, it slowed it down, and those guys behind me were able to make the plays. So as much as I can't mention Candlestick Park, I'm sorry, Bailey, I just have to mention Candlestick Park, but all of them were wonderful to play in.
That's awesome. Well, that's so great to hear from you, Dave, and we'll let you get back to your friends. And we're just so thankful that you joined us today, and thank you so much for sharing your story, and have a great rest of your night. It looks beautiful out there.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So thank you. And guys, thank you so much for allowing me just to share a little bit of my story. And I hope you're encouraged, and just enjoy each day to the fullest. Take care. Love you all.
Awesome. What a great friend of the Community Fund. So we are now I'm going to introduce two special guests. So they are both Giants Community Fund board members. I'm going to unpin Dave really quick so he's not spotlighted for everybody. All right, there we go. So two special guests. I'm actually going to share my screen to the slideshow so you can see all their full credentials. So we have Brian Murphy, who is actually currently the co-chair of our Giants Community Fund Board of Directors, and you might recognize his voice if you ever listen to KNBR in the morning and hear the Murph and Mac show. He is the Murph of the Murph and Mac show. And then we have Randy Wynn, who was a Giants outfielder from 2005 to 2009. And you might also recognize him if you ever watch the pre or post game like today. He's literally joining us after work. And he works for NBC Sports Bay Area. And then he's also one of our board members. And he keeps very busy with multiple other boards and organizations that he's a part of. But I'm going to let Murph and Randy take it away and just chat about their educational journey and what brought them to where they are today. So I'm going to let Murph kick it off.
Well, first and foremost, scholars, I am pumped to see you guys. I like kids who do well in school. I like kids who want to do well in school. So you guys are already some of my favorite people. Congratulations on getting here, and we're really excited to help you guys do the best you can. That said, I also want to know that because you guys are kids, if you're like my kid, you're on YouTube all the time. I would recommend you guys go to YouTube and look up the 1987 National League Playoffs Game 2 in St. Louis so you guys can see Dave Dravecky, unbelievable pitcher, throw a complete game shutout for the Giants in 1987 Game 2. I know YouTube makes things real, so go to YouTube after this meeting and look at the 1987 National League Championship and marvel that guy who just gave you guys incredible life wisdom was also out there carving up the St. Louis Cardinals in the playoffs in October of '87. So that's my little sports tip for the day. But I'll go quick because I didn't hit 300 in the big leagues. Randy Wynn hit 300 in the big leagues. I didn't pitch a complete game shutout in the playoffs. Dave Dravecky pitched a complete game shutout in the playoffs. So I want to give the floor to those guys. But it is an honor to talk to you guys because I liked to do well in school. I loved school when I was in school. And I now have 2 school-age kids, age 13 and 9, soon to be 10. And yeah, they play sports. They play all sorts of sports, and they always seeking mom and dad's approval for, oh, did I do good in my baseball game or whatever? And we would say to them, it's nice if you do well in your baseball game, but it's much nicer if you do well in school. And that is something that I think is what it's all about, guys. And for you guys to get this far and you guys to emphasize your scholarship so much is such a point of pride for your family, I'm sure, for your moms, your dads, your brothers, your sisters, your grandmas, your grandpas, your aunts, your uncles. So keep doing that. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I know attention spans are short, and I know Randy hit 300. But I would just tell you a couple things that got me to where I am today, which is doing something I love for a living, which hopefully you guys can all do that. And that is, one, always never stop being aware and curious about the world. Every day, I want you guys to learn something about the world, whether it's something as mundane as a state capital or a world capital, or whether it's something as complex as what's going on in world history, Afghanistan, infrastructure bills being passed by Joe Biden, how computers work, science, computers, programming, computers. Every day, wake up and be curious about the world and try to always keep your eyes open. I tell my kids all the time, don't just present yourself to the world, learn the world. Go about and keep your eyes and ears open every day. And a great way to do that is to read as much as you guys can. I can't emphasize enough. I know this is a very powerful thing, and I know we're all addicted to it, but you can read on these too. You can get ebooks. I would highly recommend you guys read as much as you can every day. Even newspapers, which I know sounds old-fashioned, but books at school, newspapers that your mom and dad might have around, anything you can. Everything I read every day helps me do my job on the radio. I learn something about the world, and we talk about it the next day on the radio because that's what we do. We talk about the world on the radio. Yeah, we talk a lot about the Giants and the 49ers and the Warriors, but we also talk about the world. So I'm going to hand it over to Randy, and I'm just going to say that it's really cool to see you guys out here getting it done on your scholarship, and I would want you guys to continue to pursue school even more than you pursue your sports. And I'll just say that Randy can speak to this as I hand it over to him, that if you have a dream to maybe even play college sports, you know what colleges like out of their athletes? They like good grades. They like good grades a lot. So you guys are on your way. Congratulations. I'm excited to see your guys' futures. And now, enough from a guy who didn't play in the big leagues. Dave Dravecky played in the big leagues. Randy Wynn played in the big leagues. So Randy, you get to take over and tell the kids your story. What's up, Randy?
Yeah, hello. Hey, Murph, how you doing?
Do better if the Giants had beaten the Padres today, but hey, nobody said it would be easy, Randy.
Nobody. Yes, I just said that. Sorry, my camera isn't on. I literally just got off TV doing a post-game show talking about the Giants and the Padres. So forgive me for that. I am sitting in traffic, but I desperately really wanted to talk to you guys and talk to you about education, the importance of education, and how that played a large factor in my life and how I got to be where I am today. Most people people, when they look at somebody who's played in the big league, they think that it was easy, that, you were a great high school player, you were a great little league player, and, you got a scholarship, and then you got drafted in the first round, and then you went right to the big leagues, and you were an immediate success. Well, some people that happens to, but that's not my story. That's not my journey. I grew up here in the Bay Area. I went to San Ramon Valley High School in Danville, and I played Little League for Danville Little League. I played both basketball and baseball in high school. And when it got time to choose a college, I was offered exactly 0 scholarships for sports. But what I did have going for me was the fact that my parents always stressed the importance of education. Before I could go out and play in front of the house with my friends, I always had to do my homework. I always had to do homework. I always had to get good grades because they told me school comes first, everything else comes after that. There were many an afternoon where I'd be sitting in my room with my window open. I could hear every kid on the block outside playing, and I was inside doing work because I was procrastinating and not being studious. So it finally sunk in, the importance of school, getting good grades. So when I got to high school and I wanted to go to college and play sports in college, even though I was not offered a scholarship, I had good grades, and that allowed me to get partial scholarships and grants to be able to afford to go to college. And I chose Santa Clara University down in Santa Clara near San Jose. And my grades allowed me to get into a school, a good school, and also be able to place where I could have a chance to play Division I baseball and basketball. So I went to college and I played baseball and basketball. And after my junior year, which is the year where a lot of guys get drafted, I did get drafted. I got drafted in the 3rd round, and I went to the minor leagues, and I played the minor leagues, and it took me a few years before I got to the big league. But if I didn't get good grades, if I wasn't able to qualify for scholarships and keep my grades up during college to keep my scholarships, I would never have been able to go to a good school, have the opportunity to showcase my ability. So education, good grades were so important in my journey and my ability to get an opportunity to be seen. And most people don't know that. They think, you got a scholarship, you're the best player on your team, you're the best player on your college team. That wasn't my journey either. My journey, once I got to be a professional, was about something that's not real fun to talk about. Hard work. I put in a lot of hard work, and every year I tried to get a little bit better, and improve. And when I did that, although I was never the best player on my team, I was able to continue to move up to the next level. From A ball to AA to AAA, and eventually I made it to the big leagues. And even when I got to the big leagues, I didn't just stick and become an everyday player or a frontline player. It took a lot of hard work and a lot of trips back to the minor league. But the lessons that I learned that when I was your age about hard work and dedication and not giving up really paid dividends for me. The things that I used in school, the same principles applied to my work ethic as a professional athlete. And so as I'm here talking to you guys, dream big. There's nothing that you cannot do if you don't put your mind and your ability and your talent and your hard work behind it.
That's amazing, Randy. Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Keep going.
No. I was just going to say, take it from me. I wanted to play in the big leagues. I wanted to be an NBA player. There's a lot of things that I wanted to be. But my parents, the things that they stressed, going back to when I was your age and younger, that drove me nuts. That I was like, yes, Mom, I know, get my homework done, or yes, I know, hard work, or be a good listener, I know. All of those things that I thought that I knew that I didn't think were very important turned out to be extremely important. Hard work, dedication, doing your best, all will push you to that next level, to that next thing that you want to be in life.
Yeah, and one last thought, Randy. Can you just share why it was important for you to finish your degree, even though a lot of baseball players, like you said, get drafted after their junior year, so they're like 3/4 done with college. But why did you decide to go back and finish up all of your last classes?
Oh, yes. Great question. I can't believe I forgot this part. So, when I was in college, I was a junior, and I was going to get drafted. My mom told me, demanded, commanded, instructed, iron fist, like there was no two ways about it. She said, you will graduate. And I took that seriously. And I went back to the school, even when I was playing professionally in the minor league. And I went back to Santa Clara. I took 2 quarters 1 year, went back the following year, 1 quarter, and I graduated. And the reason that was important was it gave me, one, it was a sense of accomplishment, something that I had worked on ever since I was younger than you guys, to be able to graduate and have that degree. Finishing school was very important for that aspect, but also when I was in the minor leagues playing, it was something that for me gave me a sense of calm. It was a fallback. As a professional player, the numbers, it's very hard to make it. It's very hard to stay in the big leagues. There's a lot of people that come and go, and that's not saying that you shouldn't try to be a professional athlete or whatever your dream. But for me, it was something to fall back on. I always knew that I had my education, and actually now, Murph mentioned it, reading, taking the things that you've learned and use them in your career. I do that now on television. So the things how I learned to study, how I learned to process information and pick up information, all the things I learned in college that I used to get my degree, I use now in my post-baseball career. So it was definitely very important for me to finish and get my degree.
Awesome advice. Well, thank you so much, Randy, for joining, especially on your way home from work. And we really appreciate all of your wisdom, and Murph as well. Murph just hopped off because he has somewhere else to go. So I hope everybody just sees how amazing this Giants family is, that we have people hopping in from their commute home and dinner with friends and on their way somewhere else, just because they care about you all so much as our scholars, and they want to be here, and they will move mountains to be here for you. So thank you so much, Randy and Murph, for sharing all of that with our scholars. And our last...
Bailey, can I say one more thing? And I hope I don't lose you. I'm on the bridge here. But this scholarship is near and dear to me because I knew Harmon and Sue. When I got traded, I got a chance to spend some time with the Burns family, and they were just such wonderful people. And so a scholarship that bears their name is very important to me because of the people that they were. So, yeah, I'm going to move mountains or do whatever I can. And one, to feed the kids, but also in the honor the memory of Harmon and Sue.
That's amazing. So special. And yeah, just a wonderful testament to what great people they were. So thank you again, Randy. And our last segment for today, in our last few minutes, we have 2 special guests who are Junior Giants regional ambassadors, and they're actually both teachers. And we would love for them to be able to just share some really practical tips for you all on just how to study, stay organized, all of that throughout 8th grade and high school. So I'm going to pass it over to Abby and Jen.
All right. Hey, guys. How's it going? Thanks for coming to this, even though you had to do school all day. So I hope that you're able to, get a break from doing your homework just for like an hour, and then you're going to go right back to it, right? Right? Perfect. Awesome. All right, so we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to help you focus on your homework and organize. Because how many of you like to procrastinate? Just a real quick question. Yep, I see those hands. I am a recovering procrastinator. I'm really trying, but it's really hard. So I'm going to be listening to these tips and tricks as well. Abby, what do you got?
Oh, are you going to share the presentation for him?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I'm happy you're all on here. Like we were introduced, I am a high school math teacher. How many of you like math? Can I see some? If you like math, raise your hand. I see some face. Oh, we have some hands. Yay. Okay, awesome. So yeah, I love math. I spend every day doing a lot of math. And I think these tips that we're about to share with you can really help in any subject. But I would say specifically maybe your core ones.
Oops. JK, wait for it. And there we go. All right, cool. So we have got some study habits that we've got to go to. So we want to help you stay organized. So first of all, don't procrastinate. It never ends well. Even though you think that it does, it's not, because it's nice to get sleep and not have to stay up until like midnight to try and get that assignment done. So try and like plan earlier. We also have set reminders for yourself. Abby, do you want to talk about that a little bit? Is this something that you do?
Yeah, so one of the ways, and I tell a lot of my students to do this too, sometimes I have them pull out, if you have a cell phone, or if they have a cell phone, I have them pull it out and I say, I need you to come by my room tomorrow, you're going to work on this quiz, that you missed, and I show them how to set a reminder if they don't know, but you can see on the bottom corner, that's an example of what a reminder would look like on an iPhone, if you have one or if you know someone who does. You can also do reminders on paper, right? Like if you have a sticky note or a scratch of paper and you need to remember something, you could write it on a sticky note and maybe put it like next to your bed or maybe somewhere in your bedroom or living room that you're going to see. So you can see my example says, go to Miss Carson's room at lunch to retake the quiz. And that way, if you forget about it, you have a reminder somewhere, or you can set it so that it's going to go off right as soon as it's lunchtime or it's time for that class period or after school.
Perfect. That's a really smart idea that I might start using a little bit as well. The next one is use a planner. How many of you does your school provide a planner for you? I know this is something the middle school I work at does. Cool. All right. So if not, you can get them at Target or Walmart or anywhere. I personally have started to make my own because I want to have fun with it. Because if it's more fun and more personalized to myself, then I'm more likely to actually do it. So I don't know if any of you have heard of the bullet journal, but if you want to Google that, it's got all these different like fun, crazy things that can be personalized to you. And you could do like color coding. I like to do this week at a glance, what I need to do this week. You could do another one that's like what I need to get done today. So what assignments do I have due tomorrow that I need to make sure they're done before I go to bed tonight? And then digital Google Calendar is a great idea of doing your assignments, or if you have an iPhone, then you can just do like Abby did on her reminders right there. That works great as well. And again, with that, you could do color coding. So like each class is a different color. So when you have an assignment, if it's purple, then that's your math class, or if it's green, then that's science. Something like that. So those are our staying organized tricks. We'll move on to our next thing. Maybe Canva will let me. There we go. Staying focused. So for me, I have a really hard time trying to do my homework or my work tasks in the place where I live. Like if I'm in my room, which I am right now, I will get distracted super easily. So when I was in high school, I liked to go either to the college library, or when I was in college, I would go to like Panera or Starbucks or Barnes & Noble and just find a quiet space that I would not get distracted. And I actually still do this when I work during the last year during the pandemic. I have a coffee shop that is just like my spot. I go and I put my headphones in, I put music in, and I can just focus better than I could with the TV near me or something like that. So that's how I stay focused. Abby, do you want to get into your Pomodoro technique, which is very smart, and I'm going to steal this too.
Yeah, so I think it's Pomodoro technique. I'm not fully sure. My coworker, a fellow teacher, taught this to me, and I've seen it before. But basically, If you've ever been working on a homework assignment or even like classwork or whatever that you had to take home and you think it's going to take you a really long time, it's really natural for us to need breaks. So the Pomodoro technique is specifically you have to decide what you're going to work on. So maybe you have math homework tonight or whatever night. So you could set a timer. They recommend 25 minutes, but honestly, even if you wanted to just do 10 or 15 minutes of work to start, that's great. So you set yourself a timer. You could use your phone. You could use a timer somewhere else. You could use a Chromebook, computer. Just set a timer for a certain amount of time. I'd recommend no more than 25 minutes. And then you work on that assignment or task without any distractions. So you'd have to put your phone away or put music. Well, if you're listening to music, great. But put anything away that's going to distract you. So work on it for that set amount of time. And then once that timer goes off, you get to reward yourself with a 5-minute break. So maybe you spend 5 minutes taking a walk around your house or your neighborhood, or maybe you spend 5 minutes on Instagram or Snapchat. Those seem to be what my students enjoy doing on their breaks, or you need to go get water. And then you repeat that process. So working for 15 minutes or 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break. And after you do it a couple of times, they recommend that process 4 times, you can take a longer break. You can give yourself 15 to 30 minutes. But even if you don't follow this exactly, just working for a set period of time, like short, right? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then giving yourself a break is going to be helpful because you know there's a break coming at the end of your work time. So I would highly recommend using this technique.
And then lastly, thank you, and have a good luck this school year, guys. So we hope that helps. Did it give you guys any ideas? Are you already doing some of those things? Anybody?
Yeah, anyone want to be brave and either like share something they learned or have a question for Jen and Abby or anything like that?
Are you guys still all zoomed out from last year? You were just on Zoom too much.
All right. Well, it's good timing because we're at our time anyway. So I will go ahead and let's see. I'm gonna share my screen back to our presentation just for the last few closing things. Hold on 1 second. This is really small. Also, sorry if you hear my baby in the background. He's loved and cared for. He's with his dad now. All right, so thank you everyone so much for coming. As a reminder, you can receive 2 hours of community service for watching this live or for all of our future sessions live. Or if you can't make it live, no worries, you can watch the recording and you just have to write up a really short little report that we'll send you a link to. So if you do that route, you get 1 hour of community service, and if you do live, you get 2 hours. So it always helps to make it live if you're able to. And then the next session is going to be on Thursday, October 21st. So please save the date for that. Same time, 5 p.m. And we'll send out more details as it gets closer. But that is all we have today. So thank you so much for coming. And once again, 8th graders, it was great to meet you. And yeah, we'll let you all get to dinner and homework and all the fun stuff that you have for the rest of the night. But everyone, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.